In Warhammer 40k Darktide, you are blessed with the opportunity to mow down countless enemies in service to the Emperor. At least, that's how it's presented in the setting. After hours of propaganda-fueled gameplay and the enthusiastic affirmation of my Preacher PC, I couldn't see much improvement when compared to developer Fat Shark's earlier offerings, and I'm not sure if that's a bad thing.
That sucks.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Underwood Gaming Company. I am Underwood. Before we get too much further, please like and subscribe. Subscribing is the best way to help out a newer YouTube channel, and I really appreciate the support. Combat in Darktide is fast-paced and impactful. Every swing of my war axe had just enough weight to it to make it feel satisfying, without slowing me down to where I wanted to always use a ranged option. But speaking of ranged options, Darktide has enough guns to keep things interesting without completely overwhelming you. With the prevalence of ranged weapons and the size of the Ogren, Fat Shark has entirely removed friendly fire, which I very much appreciate. Whether you're chucking a grenade or bombarding your enemies with laser beams, you don't have to worry about accidentally hitting your teammates, regardless of what they say. As far as teammates go, you can't play through these missions by yourself. It's easy enough to start a match with just you and 3 bots, but as the mission goes on, anyone that has chosen the quick play option from the mission select screen has a chance to be dropped into your mission. You do have the option to set up a private match, but you'll need at least one friend with you. Most of the time, the bots were much better than the actual people, but their effectiveness did wane as the difficulty increased. I did think about just blocking every single person that I got matched with, but decided that it just wasn't worth the trouble. And for all that is good and holy, even if you don't like them, stay with your team. Some of the elite mobs can catch you in a trap, or you might get overwhelmed while you're on your own. If everyone else in your team has jumped down to the next area, there's no way for them to rescue you, or for you to rescue yourself. If you haven't died too many times during the mission, you'll just be captured and can be rescued a bit further on. But you can reach a point where your character just doesn't come back for the rest of the mission. While taking out enemies in melee range grants you a bit of your shield back, it will also regenerate just from you being near your teammates. So again, stay together. Progression feels slow for a while, and then picks up pretty rapidly. Eventually, when the missions start to feel a little too easy, you'll want to jump up to a higher difficulty. Some of the boss fights, even in rank 3, are no joke, at least until you upgrade your gear some more. By that point, you've probably been asking yourself what the heresy difficulty is like, and Fat Shark has done an excellent job of pacing things out. There are a good variety of enemy types. There's a chance for each mission to appear with one or more modifiers, which can really change the flow and the difficulty. I found myself becoming frustrated more than a few times because I couldn't get to a ranged elite that kept lobbing grenades over the horde of chaos fodder, or laser gunning me to the forehead and ducking behind cover before I could sort out what was happening beyond the chunks of maggots flying out of the enemies right in front of me. While the difficulty progression feels pretty natural, there isn't enough to the gameplay to keep things from feeling a bit repetitive. If you ever decide to switch to a different operative class, you'll kind of have to start the entire process over again. For me personally, I don't see myself starting the process over anytime soon, despite really wishing that I had chosen a different operative. When you first start up the game, you get to choose between 4 different classes: the Psyker, the Veteran, the Zealot, and the Ogren. Each of these operatives has its own action ability, and the game has some very useful descriptions for each of these classes. One description is a general overview, and the other is more detailed. Still, there's nothing that will get you a feel for the class as well as playing it. So I made a Zealot and was taken to character customization. You get to choose from a number of different background options for your character. These will affect little things throughout the game, as you are drip-fed lines of dialogue about the setting and the story. Next, you get to choose how your character looks. The options aren't great, but at least they exist. Although for a game that is played almost entirely in first person, I wasn't sure what the point was at first. You start as a prisoner, for whatever reason you chose in character creation, and you have to make your way to safety when the prison ship gets attacked. You end up helping an officer that was previously your captor, and they decide to let you and a bunch of other escaped prisoners fight for them. It does seem strange just how many prisoners now work for this particular Inquisitor, Grendel. What I quickly learned is that kindness will get you nowhere in the Imperium, and most people are expendable. This is a lesson that everyone you encounter has already learned. Once you complete the introduction, you'll be dropped into a hub, and you'll experience that hub in third person for some reason. The movement feels strange after playing in first person, and I still don't think that it was a necessary choice or even a helpful one. Your character does appear in the in-game cutscenes, but that isn't helped in any way by being in third person while you wander around the hub. Rather than a set order of missions determined by the story, you get to choose randomized missions, all of which you will run over and over again as you increase both your character level and your trust level. While the missions have a passing relevance to the story, most of the story is given out in little pieces as you increase your trust level. Every world or ship that you set foot on is beautifully detailed, and although there aren't any civilians in any of these places, it never feels empty. The reason is probably that chaos has corrupted all of them and they're going to attack you at some point in the next few minutes. The atmosphere is dark and gritty, and the cosmic horror sub-theme is one that I enjoy quite a bit. While I enjoyed Darktide's gameplay and aesthetic, I think how recently I played Vermintide 2 kept me from fully appreciating this game. The games are just too similar to feel entirely distinct. Even my Zealot had the exact same action ability as my Witch Hunter from Vermintide. So if you've never played Vermintide 2, it's been a few years, or if this style of game is one that you really enjoy, I would definitely recommend checking it out. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment below. I really appreciate all of your support, and it helps the channel out a lot. Once again, I'm Underwood, and thank you for watching.